Hello everyone, welcome to Bicycle Touring Talk 68. I am George Schlacek,
the one and only.
This video is part of my Cross Canada tour series. Last time we left off in Midway, BC. Barbara and I spent the night at the Midway Hotel, a supposedly haunted place that had been in business for over 100 years. Last time I claimed that nothing could have kept us awake that night. I was since corrected. But I really did sleep like a baby, but Barbara actually slept very little as the ghost of the hotel made her presence felt. We had a great breakfast at the place in the morning, and I was energized and motivated to continue the ride on the KVR. Well, what about Barbara, you might wonder? She was going to drive her car and stop in various visitor centers to promote her book. The first one was going to be in Greenwood. We were going to meet up there. My ride actually started out on the KVR, but it was challenging due to the poor condition of it. There were various cattle gates that had to be kept closed. The trail was now nothing more than a narrow dirt path in tall grass. Some places had puddles and the ride as a whole was pretty rough. Where the path was wider, it was because of the ATVs that use it. Therefore, it was bad enough to shake loose anything on your bike and give you a backache to boot. After a while, I simply had enough of the trail, and a big part of the ride to Greenwood was on the highway, Highway 3. Barbara and I met at the visitor center where I took the opportunity to inquire about the condition of the trail going forward toward Grand Forks. I was told about a local problem and decided to stick to the highway all the way to Grand Forks.
Yeah, I'm riding the highway today. I'm by myself again. I was gonna take the trail to Grand Forks and then Christina Lake, but I was told that first in the Greenwood area, then in the E-Holt area, there'd be a blockage. You know, some disgruntled landowner blocked the trail, and you know, if people make it through there, they have to deal with angry dogs and some guy throwing rocks at them and stuff. So I decided, well, I don't need that. I'm gonna ride on the highway instead. Because at the visitor center they warn you about this, but they're vague about where exactly it is and stuff. And you know, yesterday I did only 20 kilometers on the trail, and the trail was almost unrideable. So this is actually a nice relief, despite the traffic. Traffic's noisy, it sucks, but you know, other than that, it's great.
From Greenwood on, it was a lot of climbing at first, past this place called E-Holt. Then, however, it was all downhill, right into Grand Forks, and it felt awesome. Of course, Barbara had beat me by a lot, so she went shopping and picked a restaurant for us to eat before I got there. We had lunch and spent some time together walking around Grand Forks, which resulted in ice cream for dessert. Grand Forks was experiencing some serious flooding at the time, as you can see from my footage. I gave the KVR another whirl, and at the beginning it was actually quite rideable. After a short distance though, it got very rough again, and I simply had enough of it at that point. No more. I was gonna stick to Highway 3. There were actually signs on the trail forbidding the use by motorized vehicles, but it didn't seem to stop this kind of abuse by some.
So here I am. I guess I'm a slow learner, but I tried the trail again, and you know what? My bike and we have enough of the trail. It's hard on the bike, bouncing around, pushing the bike through water, lifting it over cattle gates and all this stuff, you know. The highway is right there. There's a little bit of traffic on it, and I can hear it down here anyways, and now I got the opportunity. See, there's a road here. Get the hell off this freaking trail and enjoy the ride to Christina Lake on a paved highway on the shoulder. That's what I'm gonna do.
Highway 3 had a decent shoulder. Traffic wasn't bad and it felt moderately safe. The road was so much smoother than the trail, so the ride was actually quite pleasant, a relief for my aching bones. What was I thinking? My original idea had actually been to ride across Canada over 3 months, the summer, using the Trans-Canada Trail wherever possible. There's a big difference between possible and feasible. Getting across Canada in 3 months would have been neither. If I wanted to reach my goal, I would have to stick to highways. I finally knew that now. In the case of Highway 3, this wasn't a problem, but there would be other highways further down the road that were not so bike friendly. My destination that day was Christina Lake. There were 2 provincial parks with campgrounds in the area. Barbara had gone ahead in her car in search of a campsite for us. We were communicating via text messages. It sounds simple enough, but there were 2 major problems with it. First, cellular service wasn't available along the entire route. Second, I had an older iPhone with an aging battery that wasn't reliable anymore. Sometimes I'd charge it up overnight, but by midday the next day, the battery would be down to 20% from where it could just completely die at any moment. Too bad Apple puts inferior batteries in some of their products. On a long bike tour, you really wish for something better. I had a little solar charger on the bike too, but it was almost useless because the power it put out was way too little. However, my phone made it long enough for me that day to get close to Christina Lake where cellular signal was strong. There was the message. Barbara had secured a camping spot for us. It was at the Texas Creek campground, which was part of Gladstone Provincial Park. I had to go right through and past the town of Christina Lake. Highway 3 was going to make a slight right turn, but I was to stay straight and just follow that road. It was easy because it was all downhill. Of course, I was already thinking of coming back up the following day. My ride that day was just over 90 kilometers in total. When I arrived, Barbara had arranged for firewood so we could barbecue. The tent was on my bike, so pitching that was my job. It was already late in the day when I arrived at the campground. The ride had been challenging in more ways than one. This were the Canadian Rockies. The next day would take us to Nelson via Castlegar. There was a major hill to cross called Bonanza Pass. This wasn't the only route option, but we had decided to take it because of an invitation from some good friends we had met when they lived in Edmonton, but who had moved to a tiny house in Nelson. It would mean about 115 kilometers of riding. Quite a tall order, even on flat terrain. How was I going to do that in the mountains? Well, you know the drill. I'll tell you all about it in my next episode. Have you subscribed yet? Yeah, I know, but thanks if you did. It would also make my day if you hit the like button. Awesome. See you soon. See you soon.